The success of Cathy McGowan in wresting the seat of Indi from Liberal incumbent Sophie Mirabella has grabbed headlines far beyond northeastern Victoria. While the outcome shocked distant observers, many on the ground weren't surprised at all. They'd seen warning signs for Sophie Mirabella ever since a group called Voice for Indi was set up. Its campaign started with so-called kitchen table conversations and ended with some of the savviest use of digital media ever seen in Australian politics. In the small historic town of Chiltern near Wodonga, a little more history was made this week. 7:30 Victoria was there when Cathy McGowan found out she'd become the first female independent candidate to win a seat in federal parliament. Congratulations, member for Indi.
Isn't it fantastic? Yeah. Isn't it fantastic? I'm really pleased, honoured, delighted. It's been a very hard couple of weeks. So now we can breathe again and get on with the work.
I understand Sophie Mirabella called you?
Yes, she rang me about 10 minutes ago. Very polite, she rang me and wished me well and congratulated me on the job. So that was lovely.
That phone's going to be running hot for probably the next 3 years.
Yeah, well, I hope so.
These moments in Chiltern were 15 months in the making.
Yeah, congratulations.
Oh, isn't it the best news?
My bloody oath.
The culmination of an election campaign Australia had never seen before, but is likely to now see again and again.
Congratulations. Thank you so much.
I suppose my cousin and I had the original idea that with Indi being such a safe seat, there was a lot of potential to do some really interesting stuff there and at least change the political conversation in Indi a little bit.
Speak up.
Voice for Indi was born.
From little things, big things grow.
So I moved in next door to Cathy's nephew, Ben, and we started talking. This was in Melbourne. We started talking, and he invited me one night to the pub for a kitchen table conversation.
We had these ideas at the start that could probably easily be interpreted as naive and idealistic and so on and so forth. Ideas about raising the political debate.
And I got really, really interested about sort of a community-led style of politics. And I really loved it. And then from then on, every Monday night, we met at either Ben's house or my house with a group of Indi expats, as we're called. We'd have dinner and we'd discuss strategy for Voice for Indi and work on the website and the social media as well.
Oh, Dennis!
From this grassroots political movement, Ben McGowan's aunt emerged as Voice for Indi's endorsed candidate for the federal election.
A lot of people start with a candidate and come forward from the candidate. What we did here was we came from the community first and then the candidate came from that. And then we brought the community with us along.
And the Indi expats started spreading the word from Wangaratta, from Darwin, from Melbourne.
Now Indi is our region, made up of great valleys that stretch from the Murray, Yakandanda, it's the heart.
Another 20-something Indi expat provided computer support.
So it's called Nation Builder. So it's a cloud-based software package. Every person who interacts with us online, whether they've liked our Facebook page, they just like a post of ours, if they retweet us, and also those who actively sign up to volunteer or sign up to our mailing list, it built a profile on all of those people.
In a seat ultimately decided by a few hundred votes, the software would prove critical.
It's a huge electorate. Indi is 28,000 kilometres. So what we could do with social media was connect the whole electorate.
The social capital in rural Australia is so strong that you set the ball rolling and you send someone away and say, look, you're in charge of Harriettville. And they're like, great, and they go back to their community. Most of them have lived there most of their lives, and they, get on the phone, pull out the teledex, and mobilise people around them. So I think it's purely through it's all person to person. I mean, this technology was extremely useful in supporting that and organising that. We could see where we could map all of our supporters, and we could see where we had weak spots, and we would target them.
I think part of the magic is letting people do their own thing. We've had a structure that people could work in, and then we had this, I thought was fantastic volunteer training. So people came in and did training, we explained how the campaign was going to work, and then we said, well, you go forth and do what you need to do. So people really were empowered to go and work in their own communities and do what they were good at doing.
And knowing where their supporters were also meant the ability to evaluate and target fundraising strategies.
In the couple of hours after it was sent, $13,000 came in from that email.
The group raised nearly $120,000 through its online campaign alone, and all of a sudden Voice for Indi could afford to put that voice on television.
For too long, the major parties have been taking us for granted.
What do you think's been the secret to the success of the campaign?
Having our young people involved with the most wonderful social media coverage, and they have just been superb in this campaign. Absolutely wonderful.
And the older hands knew how to support that social media campaign.
Parking in Safeway car park, for instance, the children will come across, and because these sheep are quiet, they can touch them and they won't hurt them, and their parents come with them, and then we can talk about Cathy, the parents and I.
So it was really a three-pronged attack. So grassroots, on the ground, the media and social media as well, and all these things combined created, I suppose, a perfect storm.
Vote for a voice for Indi.
The experience of these Indi expats could be hot intellectual property in future elections.
There's not actually a lot of know-how, I don't think, amidst, certainly in the Liberal Party and certainly in Sophie Mirabella's campaign, for how to actually build community coalitions and how to community organise. At the end of the day, we had 600 volunteers out in force on election day for our campaign, and Sophie had to ship in volunteers from outside of the electorate.
The major parties are on notice.
Like, I've got friends in other parts of regional Australia, like way up in sort of far north Queensland and New South Wales, and even some friends in WA that are saying, this is so inspiring, like maybe we could do the same.
Our campaign was just a real eye-opener, and I think the next one's just going to be even better. Like, there was political interest in Indi. This time in, I think every party is going to be having something to say about Indi, and I think I'm really looking forward to seeing what happens.
You don't want it just to stop now, you actually want to embed it into our community and our way of being. So I think that's the work of the next 3 years, is actually to make this how we do things in Indi. Not just a one-off election, but how the community actually works with its politicians, with me and its other local members and our local government members as well, and that the community's got a sense of its own power, that it can have its voice heard, and that we don't all have to agree, that we actually can have difference and we can be respectful in the difference, and we can look for long-term solutions that come out of that difference.
Thank you.